The laughter was loud, the chandeliers sparkled, and the air smelled like roses and champagne. It was the kind of wedding people dream about, elegant, extravagant, and flawless. But as I stood there, clutching the edge of my chair, I realized I was invisible. My daughter, my only child, walked past me in her white gown, her arm wrapped around her husband's, her face glowing with pride, and she didn't even look at me. She didn't wave. She didn't smile. She didn't call me Mom. In that moment, I felt something inside me break. My name is Margaret, and for 30 years, I've worked tirelessly to build a life for my daughter, Sophie. After her father passed away when she was 10, it was just the two of us. I worked 2 jobs, mornings at a local diner, nights cleaning offices, just to make sure she could go to college, have nice clothes, and never feel less than anyone else. Sophie was bright and beautiful. She wanted to study business, and I did everything I could to make it happen. When she graduated, I thought my sacrifices had finally paid off. She got a great job, met a man named Ethan, and soon after, they got engaged. When she called me with the news, I cried tears of joy. I wanted nothing but happiness for her. But something changed the moment wedding planning began. At first, she included me, sending me pictures of dresses, flowers, and venues. But as weeks passed, she started responding less. Her calls became short, her tone distant. When I asked if she needed help, she'd say, "It's okay, Mom, Ethan's family is handling it." Then one day, she sent me an invitation, not personally, but through the mail. My heart sank when I saw it. It didn't say, "Mother of the bride." It said, "Guest." Still, I told myself it was a mistake. Maybe it was just an oversight. Maybe she didn't mean it that way. When the big day arrived, I wore my best dress, the same one I'd saved for her graduation but never got to wear. I even brought a small pearl necklace, a family heirloom I'd planned to give her as a wedding gift. But when I arrived at the grand venue, a massive estate overlooking the city, no one seemed to know who I was. The coordinator asked for my name and gave me a seat at the back, far from the family tables. And then Sophie appeared. She looked breathtaking, her gown shimmering like starlight. Everyone gasped as she walked down the aisle. My heart swelled with pride. But when her eyes met mine for a split second, she looked away, deliberately. She pretended not to know me. Throughout the ceremony, I tried to smile, to clap, to look happy. But every glance from her was cold. When guests came up to congratulate her, she introduced them to Ethan's parents, her college friends, and her mentor. Never once did the word "mother" cross her lips. Even during photos, when I tried to approach, the photographer said, "Sorry, this set is for family only." And Sophie didn't object. She just looked at me, and turned away. It felt like someone had taken a knife and slowly twisted it into my heart. I sat alone as they danced, toasted, and laughed. People whispered, wondering who I was. I stayed until the cake was cut, then quietly left before the night ended. I went home, placed her unopened wedding gift on my dresser, and cried until sunrise. 2 weeks passed before I heard from anyone. Then one afternoon, an envelope arrived, a thick one. I opened it and froze. It was an invoice. A detailed wedding bill, over $300,000, addressed to me. The venue, the catering, the floral arrangements, even the designer gown. Every line item listed under, paid by, mother of the bride. My hands shook. I couldn't breathe. Apparently, Sophie had used my name and my credit details, the ones I'd given her years ago for emergencies, to secure the vendors. And now, the final balance was due. I felt sick. Betrayed. I called her immediately, but she didn't answer. I tried Ethan, nothing. Days went by before she finally picked up. "Mom, please don't make this a big deal," she said coldly. "You always said you wanted my wedding to be special. You can afford it." I was stunned. Afford it? Sophie, I'm still paying the mortgage. You had no right to. You wouldn't understand, she cut in. Ethan's family expected a certain kind of wedding. It was embarrassing enough that you showed up in that old dress. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Sophie. I raised you. I sacrificed everything for you. And now you treat me like this? There was silence on the line. Then she sighed. Mom, you're being dramatic. We'll pay you back, someday. And then she hung up. That night, I sat at my kitchen table staring at the bill. I felt anger, sadness, and shame all at once. But I also felt something else, resolve. The next morning, I made calls to every vendor. I explained that my name had been used without authorization. I sent them proof of my finances, copies of my ID, and even emails showing I had no involvement in the wedding planning. Some were understanding. Others weren't. But one by one, I fought to remove my name from the charges. It took months of calls, meetings, and paperwork. I nearly lost my house in the process, but I refused to pay for her deceit. And when the credit card company finally cleared my record, I did one last thing. I changed my will. A year later, I received a message from Sophie. Mom, Ethan and I are having some financial trouble. Could you help us with rent for a few months? I looked at the screen for a long moment, then replied simply. I'm sorry, I don't think we've met. And I put my phone down. That night, I sat by the window, sipping tea, watching the rain fall outside. My heart still ached, not from anger, but from loss. I would have given Sophie everything, love, support, even money, if she'd only treated me with respect. But I realized something powerful: being a mother doesn't mean allowing yourself to be disrespected. Sometimes, love means letting go, even when it hurts. Because the people who truly love you would never pretend you don't exist. Sparkle's final message. This story isn't just about betrayal, it's about self-worth. Broken heart. Sometimes, the hardest thing a parent can do is accept that love cannot survive without respect. Stand firm, protect your heart, and never let guilt silence your dignity. Rose.